Hey girls, hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nancy if you guys are new here. And welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we are going to talk about when I was 17 and pregnant. I'm gonna talk to you guys about how I found out I was pregnant, how I told my boyfriend, my now husband, and how I told my Mexican parents. If you are Hispanic, you know how scary that can be. I was scared shitless. I didn't want to talk about my whole pregnancy or like the labor and delivery just because that would be a super long video. But if you guys are interested in hearing the rest of my pregnancy stories, you guys can comment down below and let me know, and maybe I will make a part 2. But for now, I just want to tell you guys how I found out and how my parents essentially found out. So if you guys, I'm sorry if I keep saying take a shot for every time I say if you guys are interested, then just keep on watching. So there was certain things that kind of led up to me kind of thinking I was pregnant, I guess. So the first thing that kind of backtrack, sorry. So I was 17 when I got pregnant. I was a senior in high school. I got pregnant in between, it was either the first week of January or the week in between Christmas and New Year's. So one of those 2 weeks is the weeks I got pregnant. So just keep that in mind. So after a couple of those weeks, the very first thing that kind of caught me thinking that I could possibly be pregnant, my friend actually thought she was pregnant, and she, in study hall, she was googling pregnancy symptoms and we were reading through them, and I just remember being like, oh, that's weird, like I have a lot of these. I'm like, that's just weird. But to me, I just chalked all of those symptoms to being that it was probably my period coming, because a lot of times pregnancy symptoms and period symptoms can kind of be the same. So I just kind of thought I was getting my period because I was cramping a lot. But now that I think of it, it wasn't like bad cramps, because usually when I had my period, it was like super unbearable. So this was just kind of mild, and I didn't really realize that you could cramp in the beginning of your pregnancy. So the whole time I thought my period was just coming, and it just was not coming. So that was the first thing that initially kind of put it in my head that there was a possibility that I was pregnant. So the second thing was that I was just getting very sleepy all the time and just tired and exhausted, and I would come home from school and just take naps, which is really weird for me. It takes me, until this day, it takes me a good while to be able to fall asleep. Like, I think I have insomnia, I think that's what it's called. But I do not sleep unless I'm like super sick. Like I cannot fall asleep. That's just what it is. And I just thought it was really weird that I kept like falling asleep and taking naps. So one day I took a nap, and then I woke up maybe around 7-8 o'clock at night, and I just really wanted a chocomil, which is like a smoothie that my mom makes. And I think people have different versions of chocomil. But that's just what it is to us in my family. It's like a smoothie kind of. And I just got up from my room, and I got up from my nap, and I went to go find my mom, and she was in the bathroom in her room. And I just remember laying on the bed, I'm like, Mom, me haces un chocomil? I was like, can you make me a smoothie, essentially? And she's like, it's kind of late, like, can you just wait till tomorrow? I'm like, no, Ma, like, I really want a chocomil. And she's like, seriously? I was like, please. Like, I was like begging her, like, I just really wanted this damn chocomil, like. And she's like, are you pregnant? I'm like, I think she was just joking around. I'm like, no. And then that's another thing that put it in my head, like, fuck, like, am I pregnant? I'm like, no, like, nah, that can't be possible. Like, you don't think it's going to happen to you, but it can happen to you. It happened to me. Not thinking, you know, of the consequences, you know, of being cochinos. But yeah, that was another thing that kind of really started to get in my head. Oh, and I'm sorry if I kind of get things jumbled around. It has been 6 years since I was pregnant with my first daughter, so some things are kind of scattered around in my head, so I'm trying to piece everything together. So that was the side note. So then the third thing, or on the day I found out I was pregnant, so I wanted to be a cosmetologist. So I saw a school that was like an hour away. It was a private school for hair that I really wanted to go to. And my mom on this day, she told me she wanted to take me just to check out the school and to make sure I really wanted to go, because it would be an hour drive there and back every day, just to make sure I really liked it. There is one 15-20 minutes away from where we live, but I just like, I saw that one online. I'm like, I kind of want to check it out just to make sure like which one I really wanted to go to. So that day we went there and we checked out the school, but I was super like nauseous the whole time, and I was also fighting with my boyfriend, now husband at the time. So we were fighting, and then I remember we checked out the school and I really liked it and and then she took me out to eat for dinner at a Mexican restaurant, and I think I was eating like a burrito, but I just remember looking at it and just being like disgusted, but I forced it down because I didn't want my mom to be like, what the fuck is your problem? So then after that on the car ride, like I just had a feeling that I was pregnant. Like, you know those gut feelings, like I knew I was pregnant, but like I didn't want to admit it kind of. So I texted my sister. My sister is 7 years older than me and we are super close. She's like my second mom. So I texted her. I'm like, hey, like I think I might be pregnant. Is it okay if I come to your house once I get back home with mom, and can you buy me a test and can I take it with you? And she goes, yeah, that's fine, like come on over. So we drive back home and I just tell my mom, hey, I'm going to my sister's house. And she's super used to it because I would always be at my sister's house, or I would spend the night at my sister's house. Like I was always there, like that is my second house. So she was like, yeah, okay, bye. And I just jumped into my car and I went to my sister's house. So once I got to my sister's house, we jump into my sister's car and we go back into town because I didn't want anyone seeing my car or my mom being like, what the hell are you doing? So I asked my sister if she can go into the store and buy me a pregnancy test. Now, mind you, my sister at this time was 9 months pregnant, so it was super funny for her to walk into, or like waddle into the Dollar General and go buy a pregnancy test. Like I'm pretty sure the cash register will like the cashier was like, why are you getting a pregnancy test? Like I'm pretty damn sure you're pregnant. Like I'm just wondering what the cashier was thinking in her head. But anyways, so she buys the test and we go back to her house, and we go straight to the bathroom, and she comes with me and she explains like how to do it and all that stuff. So I go into the bathroom, I pee on, no, actually this test is like the ones with the little dropper thing. So I peed in a little cup and then I put like the pee from the dropper into like the test, and then my sister came in. I'm like, well, you read it because I don't really know like what I'm doing. Honestly, I don't know. So we waited, I think it's like 3 to 5 minutes. We waited and my sister comes in. I'm like, you can check it. I still didn't, I was like, I'm not pregnant. Like I know it's gonna be a false alarm. Bitch. No, my sister comes in. She's like, Nancy. I'm like, what? She's like, Nancy. I'm like, what? She's like, no, like Nancy. I'm like, no. Or she's like, yes. I'm like, no. I'm like bawling at this point. I'm like, no, like that can't be true. Like, fuck, like what am I gonna do? And then my brother-in-law actually knew what was going on, and he comes in because he hears me crying. He's like, what happened? And we told him, so you guys kind of gave me the talk, like your life is gonna change now, like you're gonna be a mom, you have to be responsible, yada yada yada. So I was just like mind blown at this point. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know. I'm gonna tell my parents. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So my boyfriend was working at that time, and I texted him. Like I said, I don't remember if I said it, but we were fighting at the time that whole day. So I remember texting him being like, hey, I'm pregnant. And he was like, yeah, okay, you probably had your sister pee in a stick. Like, that's not funny. I'm like, I'm not joking around. I have another test when you get out of work. You can like be in the bathroom while I take it. So he got off of it at 11, and he came into the house, and my mom was already asleep at this point. Like, she goes to bed, it's super early. So we went into the bathroom, and I pee in front of him, and then I remember doing it, but it wasn't doing anything. And I looked at him, and he was looking at me like I told you, you're lying. I'm like, no, I'm not. So like I put more pee in the thing, and it just shot up like pregnant. And I look at him, and I start bawling, just bawling, and he like grabs me. He's like, it's gonna be okay, like I love you, like I'm gonna be here for you. But he's like, but you need to make an appointment at the doctor's to like for sure confirm, because I don't think he's like still in his head believing it. I wasn't really believing it until like our first ultrasound, where you get to hear the heartbeat. So it made me feel better that he like was there to comfort me, and he wasn't mad or anything. I was just, I think at that point we we're both scared. Like, now he has to tell his mom, and now I have to tell both my parents. And he was living with us at that time, so we were scared. So that's how I found out, and that's how he found out. We found out in the same day. So the way that my parents found out, my dad actually found out before my mom did. This is where like it gets kind of jumbled up because I can't really remember. But I remember one day I got in a fight with my dad in the driveway. I think it was because I wasn't, like, I'd go to school and just not want to be there. So I leave after lunch and not finish the rest of my classes. So I think that's why we were fighting. And then we were just fighting like vocally in the driveway. And I just remember shouting at him like, point blank, I'm pregnant. And he's like, he was just quiet. And then like I didn't know what to do, so I just jumped in my car and left. And I really honestly don't remember what happened after that. So the day that I went to confirm that I was pregnant was actually the same day that my sister gave birth. And I had an appointment to go. So I lied. Okay, this happened before my dad found out, because, right? Yeah. So I found out at the doctor's before I yelled at my dad. So that day I remember I had an appointment like around, I think a little bit after lunch. I called my dad. I'm like, hey, can I go see my sister and the baby? Like, I really want to go see them. He's like, no, you can wait after school. I'm like, no, like I want to go now, like come on, like I don't want to wait that long. And he was like, okay, fine, which worked out perfectly for me because I had my doctor's appointment. So, and I did technically go see my sister. I went to the clinic first, did the test, and then went and visited my sister. Now while I was at the hospital with my sister, my mom was there too. And it was funny because we were sitting there and she goes, wow, like now I'm not gonna get nauseous anymore, because when someone in the family gets pregnant, she gets all of their symptoms, and she gets nauseous, she gets cravings. She's like yes, like now I'm not gonna have any of those feelings, like I'm gonna feel so much better, I'm gonna be my regular self. me and my sister look at each other, we're like, yeah, mom. We're like, no, she's not. Like, sorry, mom. I'm like, I'm sorry, like I did that. Like I felt so bad. So after that is when my voice is going out. So after that is when I told my dad that I was pregnant, and he just seemed so disappointed, and that like just broke my heart to see that my parents, well, that my dad was disappointed. So that's how my dad found out. And then I want to say maybe like a week or 2 weeks later, so a week or 2 weeks later, we were eating breakfast, and I think they made eggs, and Chris was still sleeping. And we were eating. I just remember getting super nauseous, and I ran to the bathroom and started throwing up. Now where the bathroom is, it's right next to the kitchen table. Like you just get up and it's right there, so you can hear everything. So they heard me throwing up, and I like cleaned myself and all that, and I got out of the bathroom and then went straight to my room because I was scared of what they were gonna say. And I think, and I still don't know because I didn't ask, I think my dad must have told my mom that I was pregnant, because 5 minutes later I hear, Nancy, Cristobal, get out of the room, get your asses out now, but like in Spanish. I was like, fuck. So I went and go and like wake Chris up. I'm like, wake up. I'm like, I think they know. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I think my mom knows I'm pregnant. He's like, oh fuck. I'm like, fuck, like, fuck. They're like, so I'm like, fuck. So we both come out of the room, and my mom's like, are you pregnant? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, he's like, seriously, you guys, like, we trusted you so much, like we're so mad right now. My mom was doing all the talking. My dad again was just serious, didn't say anything, like just pure look of disappointment. But yeah, so my mom, she's more vocal, so she was like, you're not gonna graduate high school anymore, you're not going to college, you ruined your life, like what are you gonna do with the baby? Like, and I'm like, I'm keeping the baby. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm gonna take care of this baby. And she's like, well, damn right, you're gonna take care of this baby. You decided to go do what you wanted to do. You're taking care of this baby. I'm like, yeah, I know that. Like, I'm gonna prove you guys wrong. I'm like, I know I messed up, but I'm gonna do what I gotta do for my baby. So they were both mad for like maybe a week. Well, my dad, I think, was mad for longer, but I guess my mom ended up telling me she was more upset that I went to my sister first instead of going to my mom first and letting her know. So she was more disappointed about that. And I think my dad did end up kind of kicking us out, like, you guys aren't staying here, and we found like an apartment, I would say 2 or 3 weeks later, and we moved out pretty quickly. But yeah, that's pretty much their reactions. And don't let them fool you. They love my oldest daughter now. Like, she is so spoiled every time she goes over. I'm like, what were you guys even mad about? Like, tell me. Like, you guys are mad for like a little bit, and I understand, because I was young, I was dumb. Like, I'm gonna feel that way if that happens to Holiday too. Knock on wood, it doesn't. But as a parent now, like, I understand where they're coming from so much more now. Like, I understand like them, and I appreciate them that much more. But yeah, that is my story of how I found out I was pregnant at 17, and how my parents found out, and how my boyfriend / husband found out. Yeah, so if you guys want to know more about my story, you guys can comment down below, and maybe I'll make a part 2 to this and make it a little story time. Maybe I can make it a little mukbang. Oop, oop. Oop. I'm just kidding, who's texting us? But yeah, I'm sorry if this is a little bit longer, okay? And I'm sorry that I keep flailing my arms, because I realize I talk a lot. Oh yeah, and don't mind my hair, because I was having a bad hair day. But thank you guys for watching again. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and comment down below, and feel free to share my videos. Like, help your girl out. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Okay, bye!